Have you ever been the best at anything? Like,
Sure.
have you ever had a trophy that
All
says,
the time.
Elisa Blow, you are the
I
best
do.
at what?
Yes.
Like what?
Talking.
All righty.
No, I mean, I've certainly had my share of good days in my life. Let's put it that
okay.
way. I've won a few medals in my time. I got
right.
a couple of trophies on the wall. Yes.
Well, if you're not familiar with what it feels like to be the best, let's reminisce a little bit. Here is what it feels like to be crowned the best in your sport.
Time for the final award of the evening, the Some Beach Somewhere Horse of the Year Award. It's my pleasure to present the winner of the Horse of the Year, Sylvia Hanover.
Made it big when there was a painting done of you and you're named the Some Beach Somewhere Horse of the Year. And, when you get into this game, I mean, your parents are breeders. They've been owners. You've owned horses throughout the years, too. You only dream of being the best.
Oh,
and
doesn't happen to everybody, though.
One gentleman that's been a fantastic developer of horses is going to join us right now, and this is Mark Steacy, who's taking time out of his schedule to join us. And Mark is actually here because Sean is going elsewhere, so Mark's had to make the move from the Ottawa area to help out with Team Sean Steacy. So, Mark, thank you so much for joining us. Just want to go back a few weeks ago when the O'Brien Awards were announced, and you guys were declared the Some Beach Somewhere Horse of the Year. What went through your mind when the name was read out?
Well, I don't like to brag or anything, but I kind of expected that she'd win for the year that she had. But even that said, it's still a really, really special honor to do that. We did it once before with Majestic Sun, but this was just equally as impressive, and this horse has just been fantastic for us.
Now, I understand that on the racetrack, she does have some quirks to her. She's a horse that has given, I know me watching some heart attacks, I can only imagine from you from a training point of view. What makes her so good, do you think?
I think she's just that smart. Like, she's probably smarter than we are, and she knows how to rate herself. She knows when she's got to do it and what she does. She always wants a target in front of her, and if she doesn't have that target, she doesn't try so hard. But I just think she's so smart, and she's so easy on herself, even during the week and stuff. She's so relaxed. And, I think it just all adds together to make her that special.
It's funny, when people talk about the best horses in their barn, they always say the same things, that they're so smart and they take care of themselves. But I've seen her out here warming up, and it can take her quite some time to get around the racetrack because it's got to go her way, right, Mark? Like, there's so many times when she comes out to warm up, she wants to walk around the racetrack before she starts to jog.
Yeah, no, she's not very ambitious other than being in the race. And her stablemate, Front Page Story, for example, usually does the warming up for her if they're in a race close together or stuff. So she needs a target, and usually Front Page Story is the one that she follows. And without that, it's very challenging to even get a warm up into her.
Well, you were saying to us off camera that they have a very unique relationship, Sylvia and Front Page Story. They've been basically brought up together. They're like best friends. They're each other's kind of security blanket. And like you said, they travel together, they race together. Do you think that Front Page Story is a big part of the success for Sylvia Hanover?
Well, she certainly didn't hurt by any means. But, they were together since the time they were both bought right around the same time, and they've been in the same paddock together ever since. They stand beside each other in the barn, stalls next to each other, travel together in the trailer. They've even been in the same race together many times, and there's been several times, like I said, where I'll take Front Page Story, cut the mile for Sylvia. I have somebody to follow, and I think in that sense, it just keeps Sylvia more relaxed and gets her better prep for the race.
So what are we looking at ahead of the time here with Sylvia Hanover as 2024 now is on the horizon here? We've arrived at what is a chance for her to become a back-to-back Breeders' Crown winner. Have you kind of mapped out her campaign? I mean, obviously stakes payment time has come and passed for some tracks. Like, what does her season look like right now, do you think?
Yeah, it looks like she's going to get started late, mid to late May. Probably a couple overnight races at Mohawk, I hope. And the first stake race looks to be the Roses Are Red at Mohawk. And and then she'll probably race a little bit at the Meadowlands, back to Mohawk. And then I would imagine, at the end of the year, we're always looking again for another Breeders' Crown. And I think there's a couple things in between here and there in the U.S. for her.
How has her winter been? Has she changed much, or is she pretty much physically the same horse that she was from last season?
Yeah, she hasn't changed a lot, I wouldn't say. She just, she was a little tired after the last start. She did a lot of trucking at the end. So we took her back to my farm. We freshened her up, and she's happy again. But as far as growing, she might have filled out a little bit, but no, she hasn't. She was a good looking horse to begin with, and she hasn't. I wouldn't say she's changed a whole lot in that respect.
Talk about all in the family here and the job that you've done with this horse and managing her extremely well. You've got a lot of credit for that, but I think we should give some credit to Sean too, right? Because you guys do this as a team.
Well, since Sean's been out of high school several years ago, my stable stepped up to another level. Like, Sean is a person anybody'd want to have in this barn. There's no person in this business that works harder than Sean. And my other son Clark, he came into it too, and it's a team thing for us. And Clark and his wife Kara at home, they have their thing to do with starting them. And Sean and Natasha up in Guelph here, they race them. And I guess I just overlooked the whole thing.
Yeah, they're going to have a horse actually on tonight's program named Bookie Baby, who was coming off a really good result last time out when finishing in the 4th place position on the podium. I want to ask you about a mare trotter, Warwi Zena. It's hard to say that a horse makes $139,000 in a year and it's a disappointing year, but she didn't win a race last year. Could you pinpoint why she wasn't as good last year, and what can we expect this season, do you think?
Yeah, she was hit and miss last year. She just missed once by a nose in 150 flat at the Meadowlands. But she ran into a lot of lameness issues last year. We had a hard time keeping her healthy. She'd tie up on us quite often, and just nothing seemed to work in her favor last year. It was one thing after another, and so we're going to give her one more try this year. Like, she's back in Lansdowne still resting. She's actually ready to come to Guelph anytime now and begin her training. And she really has freshened up and sounded up very nicely right now. And hopefully she's, I figure if she can make $140,000 not winning a race, if she can win a few, double that this year.
Hey, speaking of sounding up, the guy who's done a lot of your driving, of course, Bob McClure. Now, he's sitting out right now. Have you had a lot of conversations with Bob to see how he's feeling, and then, of course, to find out, what Bob's roadmap is to get back, and will he get back in time and be ready with Sylvia?
Yeah, Bob, actually, we talked there a couple of weeks ago. He stopped by the barn, and he's pretty confident that he's going to be ready in the spring, and that's, I think, when Sylvia should be ready too. So right now we're feeling optimistic that they're both going to be back at the same time.
Well, he's not working tonight, but Randy Waples would come out of retirement if you want him to. I'll speak on his behalf on that part if you want to. If Bob's not available, just let you know.
I don't know if Mark heard this, but maybe a couple weeks ago on the show, he said to you, whether or not you were listening, that if you needed somebody, he was available.
Well, Randy's drove for me in the past, and he's done a really, really great job. He's a fantastic driver himself, but so I was never worried when I had Randy Waples down to drive my horses.
One last question for you. We'll let you go. Front page story. She's kind of overshadowed a little bit because Sylvia Hanover is so good. But listen, I wouldn't kick her out of my barn. She's been a lovely, lovely horse for you guys. She won the Lincoln, and she's a 3-time winner overall in her career, and she's banked some pretty good cash. What are the game plan looking ahead with her? Like, what do you think you're going to try and avoid Sylvia? Because obviously Sylvia is so good. What's your thinking here with front page story coming up?
Yeah, no, she's training back. They'll probably train together several times before they qualify. But if Sylvia wasn't in the barn, we do think a lot of front page, but we think even more. But she went in 49.50 last year, and she raced in the Breeders' Crown. Maybe she'll mature and be that kind of horse this year. But we're going to stake her up the same way, basically. And it'd be nice if they could travel together, and she could be, that little crutch that Sylvia might need again. But I think whether she's on that level, but she should at least make a good open mare. I would hope so, anyways.
I have to ask you one quick question here. Last year, Sylvia Hanover gave us some heart attack moments, and we're just fans watching. I'm sure, you probably bit all your fingernails off watching. I have to ask you, between the Breeders' Crown, the Shady Daisy, the Tompkins Greer, or the Mistletoe Chalet, what was the most nervous race for you? What was the time that you absolutely thought, I don't know if we can do it, and she pulled one out of the hat?
Well, they were all like that to a certain extent, but I think that was a pretty extraordinary race at the Meadowlands, the Mistletoe Chalet. She was swooped, and then she came back, and she swooped 3 wide and went by them, and when she last year she raced against Joe Fresh, who's a fantastic mare, and we beat it 4 out of 5 times. The only time we didn't, we made a break. But no, she made us worry a lot, but she always came through.
Just an amazing, the cardiac kid. And you know what I find too? I find that the good ones know where the wire is.
They do. They do.
And it's just, you can't teach that when you breed a horse or you buy a horse you don't know. But some horses have got that knack for winning races. Mark, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking time to join us today. We just can't wait for stakes season right around the corner. And on behalf of all Standardbred fans, just thank you for so many great racing memories that we had last season, courtesy of Sylvia Hanover.
Give her a big pat from us.
Well, I will do that. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Mark Steacy, one of the coaches there with Sylvia Hanover, back-to-back Breeders' Crown winner.